In crypto, speed matters, but trust matters more. At Caleb & Brown, you're never on your own. We connect you with your own personal broker and a 24/7 team, ready to help you buy, sell, or swap over 250 digital assets with one flat, transparent fee. No spreads, no slippage, no hidden costs. Get the best market prices through deep, aggregated liquidity executed by our professional trading desk. Your funds are secured with institutional-grade cold storage for total peace of mind. Track every move in real time with our intuitive client portal, anywhere, anytime. Whether you're trading as an individual, trust, or business, we give you speed, security, and peace of mind. Thousands of clients in over 100 countries already trust Caleb & Brown. Visit calebandbrown.com and start your personalized crypto journey today.
And welcome back to another episode of the Blockchain Brew Morning Show. In the evening show, we come to you every night with some fresh serpent juice. We sip on a different craft beer every night on the evening show. In the morning, we come to you with some Zoom juice. Some morning caffeine. So guys, if you're joining in, smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel to join the most hydrated crypto community on YouTube. And drop your thoughts in the comments, smash the likes. Welcome in Joe from Trade Intuition. And let's dive right on into it. First thing that we're going to get into today is some news. Share my screen here. And we have the Caleb & Brown weekly roll-up for the news. Let me get my music turned down just a little bit. When it's just me and it's in the morning and I'm sitting down, I think I don't project. I don't have as much, pep in my step right here. So I think bringing the music down a little lower is the right balance. So there we go. Let's see. So we have the Caleb & Brown weekly roll-up. So guys, one of our partners here on the channel is Caleb & Brown. You have institutional grade cold storage solutions. It's a one-stop crypto brokerage that allows you to buy, sell, and swap with one flat fee, and charges no fees on deposits, withdrawals, and no fees to talk to your personal crypto broker, right? A lot of people don't have someone they can talk to in real life about crypto, about portfolio strategy, about dollar cost averaging. Um, they're not going to tell you what to do, but they will educate you as you have questions and talk to you about portfolio management and some different ways to diversify and what a good split in a portfolio may look like. You know, they'll talk you through dollar cost averaging, and when you text your broker that you want to buy, that you want to make a purchase, they will go find the best price on that asset for you, whether it's their over-the-counter liquidity, whether it's on a DEX or a centralized exchange. So, you know, you can be at the beach, you can be at Disneyland, and send off a message to your personal broker 24/7 to execute a trade without having to be at your desktop or, you know, log into your MetaMask or go and do a DEX or whatever. So, you know, there you go. Let's see here. Now, one of the advantages, you know, guys, you can sign up for Caleb and Brown for free and get this weekly roll up dropped into your inbox, you know, without having to do anything. So this is I always find this to be a really good summary of the news for the week leading up to the release of this roll up here. And so it's always really good stuff. Usually it's released Monday nights. You can have it, like I said, dropped into your inbox every week for free just by creating an account with Caleb and Brown using our link. So yeah, this weekly roll up, it's usually sent out Monday nights, Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes they're a little late on it, and I've usually found that, like, when there's something big going on that Monday, and it might take them a little while. 113 to 110 in an hour, what gives? Yeah, we're gonna dive into that, Labruca. I feel you. You know, I did take profit on my Ondo long at like 3 a.m. last night. I happened to kind of wake up and, you know, you check your phone and I'm like, you know, I have my take profit set here, but I'm going to go a little early on it, and it turned out to be good. So let's see here. Okay. Dive on into it. The weekly roll up from Caleb and Brown. Market highlights. American Bitcoin, backed by the Trump brothers, whipsawed on its first day of trading. Bitcoin mining companies reached a record high market cap of $39 billion in August. The Fed's Payments Innovation Conference is on October 21st, so that's something to mark on the calendar. The NASDAQ filed with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission to launch tokenized securities trading. The U.S. Senate amended the Responsible Financial Innovation Act, seeking regulatory efforts by the U.S. SEC and CFTC. This week focused on the U.S. labor market as JOLTS job openings and August non-farm employment change signaled weakness. JOLTS openings came in below forecast at almost 7.2 million, while non-farm payroll employment missed by over 50,000 at 22,000 new jobs. You know, meaning that 20,000 new jobs that was created was actually 50,000 less than what they had projected. So, and the revisions actually came out today, and it's probably not in this roll up, but we're going to look at that as well. Let's see. Risk assets initially rallied on the payroll data, presumably as it confirmed the Federal Open Market Committee's need to cut rates at its September 17th meeting. Guys, that is now all but certain as you can be without knowing the future, as certain as you can be without knowing that the Earth is going to continue spinning come September 17th. Guys, rate cuts are here. The question is actually how much. And look, I still believe it's only going to be 25 bips, but here in a little bit, I'm going to show you some compelling data to suggest that it's not insane to think that we get a higher cut. So there's that. Let's see here. However, market sold off those gains on signs of labor weakness. For the first time since April 2021, there are just 0.99 job openings per unemployed person. The 10-year Treasury yield fell through to the week to just over 4%. So guys, for the first time since April 2021, there are fewer job openings than there are, there are fewer job openings than there are unemployed persons. So all eyes now turn to U.S. inflation data and the Bureau of Labor Statistics annual benchmark revision. The August Producer Price Index is out September 10th, that's tomorrow, while the latest Consumer Price Index comes September 11th. So guys, PPI tomorrow, CPI on the 11th. Those are important dates to watch. If you're trading this week, maybe just hang out until those come out, or if you're entering into something beforehand, just make sure you're considering this in your data, because those can be volatile days. The BLS benchmark revision updates job growth for the 12 months to March 31st, 2025. A steep downside revision could trigger short-term selling across risk assets. Weekly performance, S&P 500 up 0.3%, Dow Jones down 0.3%, NASDAQ up 1.1% for the week, which is not bad work for the NASDAQ. Looking ahead, like we said, Bureau of Labor Statistics annual benchmark revision, September 9th, that came out today. We are going to take a look at that. Tomorrow we have PPI data, and on Thursday we have the European Central Bank interest rate decision, along with U.S. core CPI data. So a lot of inflation data coming out this week. Most crypto sectors saw gains this week, likely as the market recovered some of the prior week's losses. Biggest gainer for the week, WorldCoin, up 79.3%, rallied on the launch of its anonymized multi-party computation initiative with partners Nethermind, the University of Nuremberg, and UC Berkeley's Center for Responsible Decentralized Intelligence. Biggest loser, HiveMapper, the DeepIn project, down 12%, extended its recent declines as investor interest shifted to other sectors showing higher returns, while smaller DeepIn tokens gained, and more on that below. So this is very different than last week's market performance sector. Everything was red. This time we have AI up 34.7%. That's really because they're considering WorldCoin there. It's pulling up those numbers. Staking services up 15.9%. Third-party staking services was one of the biggest losing sectors last week. So this is really just a recovery. Meme coins up 12%, DeFi up 8%, RWA up 8%, gaming up 8%, smart contract platforms up 8%, file storage up just under 8%, bridges in Bitcoin ecosystem up around 7%, and then you can see Gen 1 smart contracts, store of value, utilities and services, oracles, and exchange token up anywhere from 2.5 to 6.3%, with DeepIn being the only category that's down for the week at 2.9%. So there you go. I'm actually gonna download that for myself so I can tweet it later. Let me come over and check on the comments. Muffhead says, it's likely we end up rich from crypto, but sitting on a pile of ashes that used to be our nation's. Yeah, I'm worried too. I'm curious though, what do you think the answer to that is for individual families? Like, move somewhere or what? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to, what course of action we're supposed to take about that. You know what I mean? And everyone has to, make their own decisions. I know I'm asking an extreme life question there, but okay. Let's see here. Bitcoin opened at $108,247 and fell to $107,250 on September 1st after July's strong PCE reading. Bitcoin hit a weekly high of $113,390 on September 5th before selling off on weak payroll data, though it still ended the week up 3.2% on 7 days. Bitcoin dominance rose to 58.8% on September 5th before easing slightly. Bitcoin investment products saw $524 million in inflows this week. So, yeah, and that weekly high there was $113,390. I think that last night's action probably got up a little higher than that. I do see us breaking 114 soon, but we'll let the charts tell us that when we get there. California's pension fund, CalPERS, is split on whether to gain Bitcoin exposure, as candidates for board seats voiced opposing views. The November election will signal the fund's stance on holding Bitcoin directly. CalPERS holds 410,956 strategy shares for indirect exposure. We need them to be giving their state employees access to gain Bitcoin exposure in their retirement funds. I know that's already in the works right now for 401ks, but we need this for at the state level too, for state employees. I mean, my wife has some retirement in CalSTRS, which is it's the California Pension Fund for Teachers, right? And it would be nice to be able to throw all of that in Bitcoin. That would be a good little chunk. But apparently we can only do what they allow us to do in the land of the not so free. So there you go. Let's see here. American Bitcoin, a mining and treasury firm backed by Eric and Donald Trump Jr., debuted on NASDAQ under the ticker ABTC. The stock surged 83% to $13.93 before dropping to $9.26, while multiple halts due to volatility. The firm plans a $2.1 billion stock sale to expand Bitcoin holdings in mining. Wow. In August, the market cap of publicly traded Bitcoin miners tracked by JP Morgan hit a record $39 billion. The surge is driven by firms like Hut 8, Core Scientific, and TeraWulf expanding into high-performance computing, including AI. In Bitcoin buying news, Strategy, El Salvador, and Sora Ventures all bought quite a bit of Bitcoin. Ethereum opened the week at $4,391 and declined to a low of $4,209 on September 1st on U.S. inflation concerns. Price regained to around $4,490 before seesawing on the non-farm payroll employment change for August. So, guys, the balance there is like, when that payroll data came out, we surged, but then we cooled off because there's a tightrope. We're walking a tightrope. The markets are when it comes to employment data, right? The tightrope is you want enough weakness in the labor market to get a lot of positive action on rate cuts. But you don't want so much weakness that now everyone's panicked about full-blown recession, right? So the market prices have a little bit of indecision in that regard. So, but once we do get those rate cuts, I do believe that it's going to definitely tilt that indecision on the side of bullishness. I don't believe that it's just priced in already. So Ethereum dominance declined to a low of 13.6% as markets sold off across the weekend. Ethereum focused funds saw 924 million US dollars of outflows this week. SharpLink Gaming plans to stake a portion of its ETH treasury, currently valued at approximately $3.6 billion. Let's see here. In Ethereum buying news, Bitmine and SharpLink both bought a lot of ETH. Altcoins. While many cryptocurrencies made small moves this week, a handful made considerable gains, predominantly across computing, DeFi, and smart contracts. The altcoin season index is currently at 50. Bitcoin season, or neutral rather. Aether gained 56.8%. The decentralized cloud infrastructure network gained almost 80% on September 8th before retracing, presumably as the broader DePIN sector saw gains to start the weeks. Numeraire grew by 27.8%. Chainflip gained 26%. Checks grew by 24.9% on news of its partnership with Smart Gold to tokenize 1.6 billion US dollars worth of gold held in Roth IRA accounts. And Frax gained 22.9% due to its participation in competing for the hyperliquid stablecoin contract, plus its new custody deal with Crypto.com. So big stuff, guys. If those are some to watch, then I think this altcoin section in this week's roll-up was killer. So if you guys are doing your charting, not financial advice, if you guys see a good setup, or you just want a little bit of spot exposure to something like this, do your own research. I'm not going to be, but these can be good things to get exposure to. So I would write those down and go do your research on it later. We've got Aether, Numeraire, Chainflip, Checks, and Frax. So there you go. Let me check up on the comments. Live in homogenous communities. Okay. Yeah, that's an option in between just like moving somewhere else and just imploding, I guess. I don't know. Got you. And welcome in. I see we have 20 people watching at the same time on a morning show. Usually our evening shows do much better. If you're in here, smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel to join the Brew Crew, the most hydrated crypto community on YouTube, where we enjoy a different craft beer every night on the stream. And because it's socially unacceptable to drink in the morning, I come to you in the morning with some coffee. So there you go. And let me just check up on YouTube numbers real quick. 20 people watching. I know we can get up to tick up to 448 on subscribers. So let's do it, guys. Real Meta says, I like my solution more. What is your solution? I'm curious. So let's see. All right, crypto ETF news. Digital asset investment products saw outflows of 352 million US dollars last week due to weak market sentiment following the August non-farm payroll miss. Trading volumes also declined by 27% last week. In altcoins, Solana saw its 21st straight week of inflows, while XRP saw inflows too. Year-to-date inflows for both coins reached 1.2 billion US dollars each this week. That's big stuff. Other crypto news, the SEC and CFTC are considering a proposal to allow TradFi markets to trade 24/7 like the crypto market. See, would that take mass tokenization? I'm not sure. The announcement followed an earlier development in which the agencies issued a joint statement announcing their proposal for spot crypto assets to be traded directly on US SEC regulated exchanges. Could that mean the disappearance of CME gaps forever for Bitcoin? You know what I mean? Like if the SEC and the CFTC caused traditional markets to trade 24/7, then in theory we would never have another CME gap again, right? Unless I'm missing something. So that would be quite epic. But guys, it makes sense. Like in 2025, there's no reason for any market to not trade 24/7. I mean, other than control and centralization. But this is just one of the many ways that the crypto industry is a trailblazer for the world. So, it said it right there in the sentence that to trade 24/7 like crypto, right? People are in the SEC and CFTC are going, hey, look at what those guys are doing over there. We kind of got to catch up, or everyone's going to have to catch up to blockchain. And in the areas where it's going to take tokenization to do it, which is a whole lot of areas, then that's just going to have to happen, because the world has to catch up to blockchain or get left behind. So U.S. Federal Reserve, trade 24/7 like the crypto market. The announcement followed an earlier development in which these agencies issued a joint statement announcing their proposal for spot crypto assets to be traded directly on US SEC regulated exchanges. So, guys, there's that too. That was big news. That was some of the biggest news in the last week, in my mind, for spot crypto assets to be traded on traditional exchanges. The New York Stock Exchange, for example. That would be absolutely epic. The agencies were called on this week to further coordinate on future crypto regulation as U.S. senators amended the Responsible Financial Innovations Act of 2025. The U.S. Federal Reserve will host Payments Innovation Conference on October 21st, so mark that on your calendar. That's likely going to be pretty big. It'll focus on emerging technologies, including stablecoin applications, artificial intelligence in payments, and the tokenization of financial products and services. There's no way that that's not going to be a big day, so put it on your calendar now. Think ahead. The US SEC released its latest rulemaking agenda with nearly 50% of its 20 proposed rules aiming at easing crypto regulations. Proposals include safe harbors, redefined broker-dealer terms, and permission for crypto trading on national securities exchanges. Wyoming state-backed stablecoin. I'll skip that one. We get the point. It's a big deal, and it's using Hedera. It's expanded onto the Hedera blockchain, so go HBAR. Drop a +1 in the chat if you're an HBARbarian. NASDAQ filed a proposal with the US SEC to allow tokenized securities like blockchain-based stocks and ETFs to trade alongside their traditional counterparts. Moving on down. Solana's upcoming upgrade aims to reduce transaction finality from over 12 seconds to approximately 150 milliseconds, enhancing scalability and efficiency. With over 99% validator support and $1.7 US billion in Solana locked in corporate treasuries, some analysts project that Sol could reach $250 per token by year end. That is way low in my opinion. I don't think it's hitting $1,000 or something like that, unless we go into an extended cycle. But 250 is really low. It's already done that. Canadian firm Sol Strategies, which focuses on building Solana treasury and infrastructure, has received approval from its list of common shares on the NASDAQ, trading under the ticker symbol STKE, starting September 9th. So yeah, there we go. That does it for our roll up today, and we'll hop on into some charts. You see Wyoming coin now trying to use HBAR for stable coin. Yeah, exactly. That's what that was getting at. Let's see. Alan Matthews says, I've just got back from work. It's after 7 p.m. here in the UK. Beer's coming out shortly. Charles Hoskinson has the answers to the bull market in 2026. Go Ada, go. Exactly, man. Charles Hoskinson is with the in crowd when it comes to crypto rules and regulations. Charles loves to talk and he says too much. This is true. Also, I was informed yesterday by someone that 4 p.m. is the appropriate time to start drinking for the day. Anything before 4 p.m. is apparently not socially acceptable. So, whatever that means. Thank you, Alan, for jumping in. You can check up here on the YouTube numbers again. Okay. Yeah, the Labruca, the Wyoming stablecoin using HBAR. Yeah, that's big stuff. That's what the roll up was getting at. So that's exciting for anyone that is into HBAR. It's 5 p.m. somewhere exactly. Okay, one more thing before we jump into the charts, and we come over here to the Discord. Guys, yesterday you see Muffhead posting here in the Discord all of the important days this week, and then he was telling us this last night. Guys, articles, we didn't start to see articles about this until a couple hours ago this morning, right? But if you're in the Discord, Muffhead was telling us this last night. Now, look, not financial advice. Things that we say in here, you have to separate data from the opinions and interpretations that we might make about that data. But regardless, he was telling you big week ahead, Tuesday, non-farm payroll revisions, Wednesday, PPI, Thursday, CPI, right? So we already talked about that in the roll-up, but he tells you annual payroll revisions are released tomorrow, so that's today, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So that's been out for several hours now. He says estimate was minus 900K, meaning that there would be once they revise the payroll data that they released last week, what they would find is that you have a $9 million decrease from what they actually thought they had in terms of jobs. He says, I think minus 2 to 3 million is possible. This would get you 75 bips in a rate cut. Revisions can flip the entire narratives when it matters most. It's happened before. And then he says Goldman Sachs expects 550 to 950K jobs erased, which would be the biggest cut in 15 years. This is bigger than crypto. This is, am I going to get mugged on my way home from work type of stuff when you zoom out. Guys, yes. society is sitting on the cusp of burning. Yesterday we looked at, I know you're over in the UK, Alan. Yesterday we looked at the French government collapsing. Let me zoom this out for you guys. Yesterday we looked at the French government collapse. Let me turn my cooler down over here. Noise is bothering me. Oh, you guys like my shirt, by the way? Free beer. Free as in liberated. So there we go. Yeah, so Alan, yesterday on the show we covered the French government collapse, and it seems like society everywhere is like on the cusp of burning down. And as a Christian, I could go on and talk, eschatology, end time Bible prophecy, and stuff like that. But maybe I'll do that one day over on John 3:16's channel, and yeah, we'll go from there. So, anyways, guys, this is the tightrope I'm talking about. Like, he says this is bigger than crypto. This is, am I going to get mugged on my way home from work type of stuff. Guys, like I don't have all the answers for myself or my family in terms of what we do about JoJo. 2020 is where all things changed and the world gone mad. Exactly. Yeah, for real. The pandemic, the plandemic was the tipping point where everything changed. Nothing has ever been the same again. Nothing will ever be the same again. Mark my words. And I'm just saying, isn't it crazy how quickly we forget about what happened? It feels like once masks came off and restrictions came down, it feels like the next, like within a year, it feels like everyone just forgot what happened. Like, I don't know. And I'm over here thinking to myself, we better not forget what happened, because it's probably going to happen again. There's probably another one in the works. And sorry for getting, conspiratorial, but I mean, I just saw JoJo's comment. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for being part of the Brew Crew, the most hydrated crypto community on YouTube. But this is bigger than crypto. This is asking yourself how you and your family are going to navigate the utter collapse of society if it happens. And one thing that I do know is it can't hurt to make as much money in crypto as you can right now, right? John 3:16 says, "Hey Trent, what's the news?" We just covered the crypto, or the Caleb and Brown weekly roll-up. We're heading into non-farm payroll revisions right now, so I'll just go ahead and hop on over there. So Muffhead, tells us that last night, and let's go check at the data after it's come out and see how accurate he was. Lo and behold, we have this from Barron's, not to be confused with our guy Coin Baron. U.S. added nearly 1 million fewer jobs, right? So the jobs data came out. Oh wait, share this tab instead. Sorry. The jobs data came out, and then we have the revisions. And what did Muffhead tell us? He said in the Discord last night, you got to give him credit where credit's due. I disagree with him sometimes about some other things, but dude, the guy is on it, and it adds a lot of value to our Discord. Like, when you go look, like when you go look at the Discord, he was saying, look, we're expectations. Goldman Sachs expects 900 the revisions to come out and show 900,000 fewer jobs than we thought during Friday's non-farm payroll. And whoever said earlier in the show, 113 to 110 in an hour, what gives? LaRuca. Well, it's partly because of this. It's partly because of the indecision point that we're in. But again, I do believe that rate cuts, the end of quantitative tightening, and the Clarity Act and ETFs are going to fully tilt that scale into bullish. But guys, right now it is a tightrope. Yes, we want easing on monetary policy, and that's bullish. But we also have fears of a recession, and that's bearish. So, guys, there's indecision. That's going to get flipped toward full bullishness for a few months, in my opinion. But when you're seeing that sort of price indecision in the moment, you got to take these things into consideration. So U.S. added nearly 1 million fewer jobs, what it means for interest rates. Job growth for the year through March was significantly lower than the government had reported. Yet, while the reduction in estimated annual hiring was the biggest in decades, it likely won't push the Federal Reserve to go ahead with a jumbo rate cut next week. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported on Tuesday that it marked down previously reported net payroll gains by 911,000 jobs in the last 12 months through March. That means instead of adding about 1.8 million positions as originally reported, the U.S. economy created only 847,000 jobs. Economists' estimates of how big the preliminary benchmark revisions would be varied widely, but most expected to see a reduction in previously reported monthly payroll growth. The BLS released benchmark revisions to align with the monthly data collected via the Current Employment Statistics Survey, with more comprehensive payroll data that is available on a delay. The quarterly census of employment and wages, the QCEW, which includes information from unemployment insurance programs, is a part of that. Tuesday's revision, however, is an initial estimate. Final benchmark revisions will be made in February 2026. Because the latest update refers to conditions months ago and it isn't final, it likely won't result in a 0.5 percentage point rate cut at the FOMC meeting next week. So that's important context. It's saying that because these conditions are referring to, these updates are referring to conditions from months ago, and it's not final yet, it won't be final till February 2026, the lack of finality on this likely won't result in a 50 bip cut. However, I'll show you a tweet from where BlackRock is calling on the Fed to make a 50 basis point cut. So I don't know. We'll see. Still, it could add to the momentum for multiple consecutive cuts, for sure. Going back to 2019, the preliminary benchmark revisions have been negative year over year. I'm going to skip down. I've been reading a lot of news already. So I think we get the point for that. I'll read this paragraph. Odds for a rate cut didn't shift much on the news Tuesday morning, with the probability of a 0.5 percentage point interest rate cut dipping slightly and hovering below 10%, according to the CME Fed Watch tool. So speaking of the watch tool, here's what we have going on. 72.6% chance of a 25 bip rate cut. We have a September. My bad. 92% chance of a 25 bip rate cut with an 8% chance of a 50 bip rate cut. So we'll see. Guys, we do still have CPI and PPI data coming out. So That's going to this week, so that's going to factor into it as well. And check up on the comments. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and are safe. That's my answer. Can I get an amen? Exactly. That at the end of the day is my answer as well. You know, I have a at work, but smacking that like. Sup, John? Thanks for all the blessings. Welcome in, do not you? I have a, let's see, Zephaniah 3. I'll have to find the verse for you later, John, but I got another one for you. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and run over to the chart for the day. And share this tab instead. Bitcoin. Go over and check on YouTube numbers real quick. Looking for someone to take us up to 448 subs. I know we can do it. Let's see here. Trent sent you the email. You get. I did. I was getting ready to type back as we were preparing to go live last night. I'll respond to you after this. But the short answer is like, yes, I'm with you. I did read it. Okay, so the daily candle is getting some indecision here, and we just talked about why there's indecision in the market. But at the end of the day, guys, we broke out of a falling wedge with a target up to $125,700. Which at that point we'd have to, find out, we'd have to watch for what patterns are being formed there and assess where we might be going from that point. At the end of the day, we've broken out of this falling wedge on the daily. We have a bullish cross on the MACD for the daily. Call it by its government name, the moving average convergence divergence. We had a bullish cross with the MACD line crossing above the signal line and the histogram moving from red to neutral to green. So that's good stuff. And we have this important green line right here. I'm going to take this upper one away so you don't get confused with it. We have this important green range right here. You can't see the lower one all the way because it's lined up. Oh, there you go. This range right here, depending on how much data is on the chart, it's lining right up with the point of control. So it's like white and green. If I move it over, it'll dip down. There you go. So, guys, this green range right here represents the previous support resistance flip. If I go to the weekly, you can see it even better. It represents the area where previous resistance, where price broke out above previous resistance, and now we are attempting to confirm that previous resistance as new support. And the 21-week moving average is even coming up above this level of previous resistance. And the stochastics on the weekly have made a full reset. The stochastics are, down here under the dotted line, under 10. So the stochastics are very, very low, meaning there's not a lot of momentum to take you much lower right now. At the end of the day, we still have this inverse head and shoulders on the weekly, right? And when you let me drag my chart down. When you take the measured move on that, from the bottom to the neckline, and drag this to the breakout point, you're coming in at $150,000 for Bitcoin. So, guys, that inverse head and shoulders on the weekly is showing a target at 150K. The falling wedge on the daily is showing a target at 126K. Stochastics are low on the weekly. Momentum is in the favor of the bulls. So, guys, all of those things. Look, we have this retest of the previous support and resistance flip, just like we had this retest of a previous support resistance flip back here at $74,500 earlier this year. Let me check up on the comments. Amelia, welcome in. And again, thanks for everyone that is still tuned in and watching with us. And I'd encourage you, smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel to join the Brew Crew, the most hydrated crypto community on YouTube. So Bitcoin, let's go down to the 4-hour and see where we see things headed. So reset this chart. Let me clean up some of my charting here. Erase a lot of the spaghetti that I have going on. People clown on spaghetti, right? But it's not a bad thing. It means you're active. You gotta declutter, though, is the problem. Because at a certain point, you're just taking in old data and you're not starting fresh. You're not starting with a clear mind and a clear slate. So stochastics on the 4-hour are coming down nicely with the dip that we got here on the previous two 4-hourly candles. So, it looks like we may be finding some support right here on the 4-hour at the 50 moving average. Again, we're considerably above this important green line here, so I'm not worried. We're holding the breakout of the falling wedge for right now. We're holding above the previous support resistance flip for right now. You would expect to meet some resistance here as you're climbing up toward the 200 moving average, because we experienced that right here. So we're in a spot where that 200 moving average on the 4-hour, the red line, it's not going to give that up easily. But here's what that tells us. When we do crack it, we can be in for some fireworks. So I do see some uptrend here. You can draw it like that, or like that with these touch points. We're putting in higher lows on this 4-hour chart. So we're putting in macro higher lows on every somewhat larger time frame. And again, we have this hidden bullish divergence that we've been talking about. A swing up on price with a swing down on RSI, the slow moving momentum oscillator. So, guys, when you have a swing up on price with a swing down on RSI, what it tells you is that even though even though the RSI has gone down, even though the zoom juice, that's right, John, even though the momentum has gone down, it has not gone down. Even though the momentum is making lower lows and it's going down, the price has maintained a higher low, right? What that tells you is that it signals trend continuation, right? If the price was not able to make a lower low as RSI made a lower low, then you're likely to maintain that higher low on price and reverse up. So hidden bullish divergence signals a continuation of an uptrend. This right here is just a store-bought cold brew with some sugar-free sweet cream. So it's pretty good. I like it. All right. What other coins do we got? I'm gonna show ETH because I'm just gonna show one thing on it. It's the same thing I've been saying, but I think it's very important. On Ethereum, let me go to the weekly so you can see it. Guys, this green line is the most important line for Ethereum, in my opinion. The reason why is because it shows us a line of demarcation where Ethereum has, on the weekly candles, has only had price action above this green line for 13 weeks in its entire history. Right? That green line is coming in at $4,108. And so the longer that we hold and create volume above this line, the more weeks that we continue to create trading volume above this line shows you that that we are building momentum for another leg up for new all-time highs for Ethereum. Guys, when we spent some time above this green line in 2021, the 21-week moving average was on a fierce uptrend. It was separating away from the yellow line, from the 50 moving average, and that separation shows you that the move is unsustainable. And then as price was spending time above $4,108 in 2021, the 21-week moving average was rounding a top. This time, as we were approaching $4,108, the 21-week moving average had rounded a bottom, and now it is just beginning its move up. It is just barely separated from the yellow line, from the 50-week moving average. And so we're in a very different place. The market structure is in a very different place than it was in 2021 at these levels. So there you go. Cardano. When you go to the 4-hour chart on Cardano, where did these go? We're gonna go to a different chart that I don't usually draw on, so I can see this right. Okay, crypto, ADA, USDT. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's where I drew it yesterday. So, guys, on the 4-hour chart, you can see this this pennant, this symmetrical triangle inside of a much larger triangle that you can see if I zoom out to the weekly. Right? There's the much larger triangle And you know, the measured move, of this, if you take the length of the flagpole, bring it up here to the breakout, the measured move of that is $1.81. And that's only the tip of the iceberg, because if you view this broader action right here as a cup and handle, we view that as a cup and handle, and then you pull a measured move there, then you're looking at approaching $3. So, and let's see here. Actually, yeah, there was one that I drew before with a much higher target, but I think might have to go out to the monthly for that. Yeah, if you go to the monthly and you take that that measured move, yeah, you're approaching $3 is there as well. So let me come back down to the 4-hour chart and show us where we are currently. So guys, this triangle right here, we have a downtrending line of resistance that has been respected several times. And we now have a lot of 4-hour candle price action that has broken out of this downtrending line of resistance. So the next logical place that we go, in my opinion, is up here inside of the larger triangle, going to 93 cents. So once we get there, we'll have to see if it rejects or what happens. And a lot of that is going to depend on rate cut volatility, you know. So, you know, over the course of the news for the next week leading up to the FOMC actions, we could definitely see in a short amount of time a move up. Let me see. A move up here with a rejection and then a break, all within a very short period. Let's see, let me check in with the comments. Just got home from the trip, got to get some errands done. We'll catch everyone soon. Blessings, John. So that's that. And then, guys, last thing over here. Guys, with our trading segment, it's in a way brought to you by BYDFi. Let me see. Change my banner down here. Guys, BYDFi is our exchange partner of choice. And when you create an account with BYDFi with our link in the description, you can get a $1,000 bonus when you deposit $5,000 worth of assets. No minimum trading required. Simply deposit and start trading with your bonus. So guys, when you do this, unlike a lot of other new user deposit events on other exchanges, guys, you don't have to meet a certain amount of trading volume in order to get the bonus. On a lot of these deals, you know, the catch is that Yeah, you can get up to $8,100 in New User deposit bonuses. Yeah, that's after you do over $10 million in trading volume. But guys, with this, all you have to do is deposit greater than $5,000 worth of assets, and you get without having to trade it at all, you get $1,000 bonus dropped into your bonus wallet. At lower amounts, you get a $60 bonus on a $100 deposit, a $100 bonus on a $500 deposit, and a $200 bonus on a $1,000 deposit. And then, the thing about that is, guys, if you have no business leverage trading your own capital, but you want to get your feet wet, then guys, make your deposit and just trade with your bonus. You can even withdraw your deposit and just trade with your bonus. So it's not to my advantage to tell you that. We get commission on trading fees. So of course, part of me wants you to go out there and trade with your whole deposit. But I also want you to live to trade another day. I don't want you out there getting liquidated. It's not good for you, and in the long run, it's not good for me either. So if you have no business trading, if you have no business leverage trading your own capital, get your bonus and just trade with your bonus. In the meantime, what you can then do is come over to our Discord, and if you've deposited at least $100 into your BYDFi account, you can verify your user ID right here, and then get access to our VIP trading signals, which will give you scalp signals. The bot is pumping these out every day. These scalp trading signals, swing trading signals. Guys, these are aggregated from top ROI traders on the BYDFi exchange. And so the bot goes and it looks at the trading activity of all of these top ROI traders, and it aggregates that data and pumps them out into the Discord as free signals. So, guys, if you have no business leverage trading with your own capital right now, like I said, just get your bonus, trade with your bonus, and get access to these signals. And then what you do is you start taking notes, you start making observations, right? The other thing that I do in my life professionally is I preach the Bible. And so, when you're teaching a new preacher or even a new Bible student to exegete, right, a passage of scripture, like the very first step is simply make observations. Just make observations. Right. So, if you have no business leverage trading your own capital yet, then go to these VIP signals, right? They're aggregated from different traders. So there's different styles, different coins. There's something out here for everyone. Go through and back test these and just make observations. Ask yourself, why did this one play out? According to what I know about technical analysis so far, why do I think this one played out? Why do I think this one didn't play out? Just make observations. Step 2, take these signals and demo trade them, right? Step 3, once you've done that enough, get your feet wet and actually start trading these signals with responsible stop losses that the signals already give you. Right? All of these give you a stop loss and several take profit levels, as well as an entry price, right? Some of them tell you how much leverage to use. Some of them don't, but many of them do. So, for example, trying to find one. I know I can find one on the scalp. this one here, Ondo, I took this trade personally. And I made, $500 on this trade just this week. So, this one tells you use 5x leverage, Ondo USDT, and then it gives you an entry price, a stop loss, and 6 take profit levels. So, just, take these signals and backtest them, demo trade them, learn from them. You can get into our Discord for free right now. In the not so distant future, it will cost $10 to get into our Discord. The reason why is because the link to the Discord will only exist in the members only portion of our YouTube. Once we hit 500 subscribers and 3,000 hours of watch time, we'll be able to take YouTube memberships. The Discord will only, the link to the Discord will only exist over there. So it means you'll have to be a YouTube member in order to get the Discord. But $10 for $10 for everything that you get here in the general mine and T-squares charts. Muffhead coming in here telling you what's going on with the macroeconomic data for the week. Muffhead in here telling you about a huge hack that Twitter was going to blow up about before you saw it. Like, guys, there's a lot of value here, and then and a lot of community building here, and then you also get the ability to access these VIP signals. So, guys, there you go. Create an account with BYDeFi, hop in the Discord, and we will see you on the evening edition, the more the drunken edition of the Blockchain Brew Show this evening at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks for joining in. Cheers. Be blessed. And on the way out, I'm going to, hey, Duality, you just hopped in. Good to see you. I'm just closing the show though. I'm sorry, but thanks for waving. Thanks for coming in here and engaging. I see you. Cheers, guys. Be blessed. And on the way out, I'm going to replay the intro videos as outros just to get a little more watch time. So thanks for joining in. All the love and appreciation for the Brew Crew.
In crypto, speed matters, but trust matters more. At Caleb & Brown, you're never on your own. We connect you with your own personal broker and a 24/7 team, ready to help you buy, sell, or swap over 250 digital assets with one flat, transparent fee. No spreads, no slippage, no hidden costs. Get the best market prices through deep, aggregated liquidity executed by our professional trading desk. Your funds are secured with institutional-grade cold storage for total peace of mind. Track every move in real time with our intuitive client portal. Anywhere, anytime. Whether you're trading as an individual, trust, or business, we give you speed, security, and peace of mind. Thousands of clients in over 100 countries already trust Caleb & Brown. Visit calebandbrown.com and start your personalized crypto journey today. Hey.